You know, I was mentioning to you off the air that the Yesterday and Today album, I always take the cover and I try and peel back.
To look for the dead babies bit, yeah.
How did that happen, that album cover that never saw the light of day, or if it did, got pulled off very quickly?
It went out, we took the pictures in London at one of those photo sessions. By then we were really sort of, beginning to hate it. Photo session was a big ordeal, and, you had to try and look normal, and you didn't feel it. And the photographer was a bit of a surrealist, and he brought along all these babies and pieces of meat and doctor's coats, so we really got into it, and that's how we felt, yeah. So we sort of, I especially, pushed for it to be an album cover, just to break the image,
Mm-hmm.
And it got out in America, and they printed, it's about 60,000 got out, and then there was some kind of fuss, as usual. And they were all sent back in or withdrawn. They stuck that awful-looking picture which you have in front of you of us sitting, looking just as deadbeat, but supposed to be happy-go-lucky foursome.
You look very unhappy.
Yeah, right. So we tried to, do something different.
Album covers were much simpler then, right? Just
yeah,
a cover
you just walk in, take your photo, and walk out. Especially in America, because we made only, say, 10 albums, actually. In America, there seemed to be 30 of them. And so we would design a couple...
So, it was an album out on the VJ label, whoever was dealing the contracts at that time. Before Capitol had Meet the Beatles.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, Introducing the Beatles came out in America on something that's called the VJ label, which doesn't exist anymore, though the album is still...
They had Love Me Do. I don't remember what else they had.
It was re-released later. Capitol got the rights and then called it the Early Beatles.
I only remember Love Me Do. I think that was a VJ record.
We have also in front of us here the Beatles' second album.
That's what it's called here. I don't know what it is.
Electrifying Big Beat Performances by England's Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, featuring She Loves You and Roll Over Beethoven. Many of these things have been remixed, the stereo.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, I think the original monaural recordings are...
I didn't realize it happened when they put out that package last year.
The blue and red...
The two albums, and... I just thought, presumed that they would just copy them from the masters and put them out. And I didn't even listen to it until after it was out, and I took it back and I played it, and it was embarrassing, I mean, some of the tracks survived, but it was really embarrassing. Some fool had tried to make it stereo and it didn't work.
Yeah. People should stay with the mono and not be so concerned.
Yeah, because, there's a difference between stereo and mono, obviously, and if you mix something in mono and then try and fake it,
yeah.
It just, you lose the guts of it, and a lot of them lost the fast version of Revolution was destroyed, I mean, it was a heavy record, and then they made it into a piece of ice cream. But never mind, it's all the past, isn't it?
I've got a new album here from which George, the new label. George is a Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, yeah.
What do you see?
It's a nice-looking label, right?
Do you see the three of them?
I've seen Paul and Paul and Ringo a lot this year because they've been over here. Paul was here about a month ago, and I spent a couple of Beaujolais evenings with him reminiscing about when we were only 38. And Ringo I've seen a lot of because he's been over here recording. I was just down in the middle of my album. I just took a break and went down and did a track I'd written for Ringo on his new album. And then I went to Caribou and sang Lucy in the Sky with Elton John, and then came back and finished my album off. So, and Paul and Ringo, George I haven't seen, but he's coming over in October to rehearse. So I'll go and see him then.
Relationships are cordial.
Oh, very warm. Very warm, my dear.
All right.
Are they getting together?
Yes, are they getting together?
Well, we'd have to be on Dark Horse label the way things are going. We never talk about it because the four of us have never got into a room together because of green cards and immigration and all that jazz. George and Paul have a little trouble getting in and out of this country too. And so the four of us have never sat in a room together for 3 years. Although we've managed to get 3 together in one room. That was Paul, Ringo and me. That was sometime in the summer, in the middle of Harry's album, actually. And so there's always, if you say no, it's a negative. They all hate each other. If you say yes, it's rolling crawdaddy. Cream says they're getting together, or Harry's bringing them together or something. There's always a chance we'd work together because, if we see each other, we tend to fall into that kind of mood. But I can't see us touring or anything like that. We've never discussed it. I could see us making records. Why not? But that touring bit, I don't quite fancy that myself.
There's no definitive plans for an album, though.
No. We're more liable to be inclined to work together in '76 when the contract comes up. I mean, to be very commercial about it. I mean, we'd be stupid to give away anything new that we get paid now.
All right, you've heard it.
You've heard it from the Dark Horse himself. And now we're going to play a track from Magical Mystery Tour, which is one of my favourite albums because it was so weird. And it's I Am the Walrus. It's also one of my favourite tracks because I did it, of course, but also because it's one of those that has enough little biddies going to keep you interested even 100 years later. And this is for the ELO freaks.
What's King Lear? There's a bit of King Lear at the end of that, too.
That was live radio coming from the BBC, though they never knew it. When I was mixing the record, I just had a radio in the room that was tuned to some BBC channel all the time, and we did about, I don't know, half a dozen mixes, and I just used whatever was coming through at the time. I never knew it was King Lear till years later somebody told me, because I could hardly make out what he was saying. But I just sort of, it was interesting to mix the whole thing with a live radio coming through it.
Mr. Lennon, hello.
Jonathan, how are you?
I was surprised. I had no idea what was happening. I hadn't been in touch with the radio today. And
you
the
should
first indication that I had was that there was 100 people in the lobby.
Oh, really?
Now, Dennis is very popular.
Tonight.
Not at all. They look very peaceful down there.
Oh, good. All right. None of those I've been on the UFO, brother, and here I am. Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
I have never met you until this afternoon, and had I met you, I would surely have asked this question. How much of Revolution Number 9 from the White Album was accidental?
Well, it's like an action painting. You don't. Revolution Number 9 is the weird one, right? Mm-hmm. I had a lot of loops, tape loops, which is just a circle of tape. If people who don't understand it, it repeats itself over and over. Had about 10 of them on different mono machines, all spinning at once with pencils and things holding them. I had a basic track, which was the end of the Revolution song, where we'd gone on and on and on and on, and I just played it sort of live into another tape and just brought them in on faders like you do as a DJ, and brought them in like that, and it was accidental in that way. I think I did it twice maybe, and the second one was the take. Mm-hmm. And the number nine was an engineer's voice. You know, they have test tapes to see that the tapes are all right, and the voice was saying, "This is number 9 megacycles." So he was talking like that, and I just liked the way he said number 9. So I just made a loop of him saying number 9 and brought that in whenever I felt like it. Uh-huh. And 9th of October, I'll be 105, and 9 seems to be my number. And it's the highest number in the universe. After that, you go back to 1.